Here's your daily reminder to keep the Ten Commandments. You know, I was never in the church, per se. But I looked for God my whole life. You know, I could never wrap my mind around this Jesus dude. This story never made sense. And so, thankfully, when I found the way at straightasthegate.net, I didn't have to undo a lot of the damage that the Christian church has done to a lot of people. You know, and it's not just the Christian church. I was also part of a group called the Torah movement. I mean, I still am, because I'm a Torah observant Christian, I guess. But the Torah movement, they keep all the laws, you know, all the laws that the Jews were required to keep. the 613 laws that Yeshua did away with when he died on the cross and said it is finished. You know, he was talking about sacrificial law. The Levitical priesthood had ended, and the order of Melchizedek had been brought in, bringing grace, so that salvation is no longer just for the Jews. It's for everybody. Everybody can now be grafted into the commonwealth of Israel. And the reason that we could do that is because the Messiah came to refresh us to the original covenant of promise, which is the Ten Commandments, which was given in Mount Horeb. The reason that we have, the reason we have sacrificial law in the first place is because after the Israelites had been given a verbal agreement at Mount Horeb to keep the Ten Commandments, they were supposed to go to Mount Sinai a few days later and receive those commandments, which they did do. But in the interim, they built and worshipped a golden calf, thereby violating the original agreement that they'd made with God. And God was going to destroy them. But Moses went to bat for him, and so God relented. And in the end, a bunch of people died, and they got sacrificial law. And sacrificial law was, how's it worded? And when Moses had made an end of writing the book of the law, comma, until it was finished, he then gave it to the Levites to place on the side of the Ark of the Covenant to serve as a witness against Israel for a time. And that's why he wrote, and when Moses had made an end of writing the book of the law, comma, until it was finished, he then gave it to the Israelites. It doesn't make sense grammatically. It's actually a stupid statement. Ricky wrote the book of the law until he was finished. It doesn't make sense. It's prophecy, because they knew that Yeshua would eventually say, it is finished. And so you have this it is finished bookend, if you will, the prophecy in the beginning, and then you have the fulfillment with Yeshua on the cross. So, having fulfilled the sacrificial law in that he became the final sacrifice, thus freeing us from the law of sin and death and giving us the law of liberty. So you're supposed to keep the Ten Commandments. When he died, he didn't say, okay, now go, you're free, go do whatever you want, right? What he did was he came to perform the final mercy, to provide a way for you and I to be grafted into the commonwealth of Israel through the keeping of the Ten Commandments, eating clean, keeping the Sabbath, teaching others to do the same, and fulfilling the royal law, which is really the bullseye of the Torah, is to fulfill the royal law, to go out there and do what the Jews didn't do, is to find their lost brothers and sisters from the house of Israel, those who in the end times will fall away from the church, and they're going to notice something's wrong, and they're going to raise their hand and surname themselves Jacob. And that's the only way you can get into New Jerusalem, people. You got to have one of the names of the 12 tribes of Israel. There's no Gentile gate. There's no black gate. There's no white gate. There's no, there's 12 gates with 12 names, and you got to have one of those names. You got to be adopted or grafted into one of those 12 tribes of Israel. So listen, people, I don't know a lot about the Bible. I can't give you all the scriptures and all the addresses, but I know this. I've been looking for God my entire life. I'm 59 years old, and I've been walking this way for about a year. And my life has never been the same. We're in a time of mourning, lamentations, and woe. And we're mourning and lamenting, and we're in woe because our brothers and sisters are lost, and nobody is helping us find them. And in fact, when we're out here looking for you, you guys hate us. You think we're the devil. You think we're trying to unrighteously judge you, when in fact, Leviticus, was it 18? I can never remember this. Leviticus 19, 15 through 18 is, you shall do no unrighteous judgment. You don't judge don't give deference to the rich or poor. Don't be a talebearer. But the most important part is that you should in any wise judge your neighbor for sin if you see him. Don't suffer sin upon your neighbor because you become a partaker in his sin, because you let that man go to hell because you didn't warn him. That's the job. That's the bullseye of the Torah. To understand that Yeshua Messiah came to refresh us to the original covenants of promise, which is the 10 Commandment and the Rainbow Covenant. This is the one made with Noah about food. So listen, don't listen to these people in the church. And if you get into one of these wingnut Torah observant groups that tells you have to keep the feast and that the Sabbath starts at nighttime. The Bible clearly says that the Sabbath is dawn to dawn, but the Talmudic Jews brought it back from Babylonian captivity, so they kept their nighttime Sabbath. All right? So good. Come out of the church, but don't go out of the frying pan into the fire. Stay away from the BHI, stay away from WHI, stay away from any of these Parable of the Vineyard, any of these people that are telling you that you need to do God's feasts in a profane land, or that the day starts at nighttime somehow because that's when their Sabbath starts. Yeah, stay away from them. Don't do Christmas and Easter. Don't do Halloween. Don't do these things. They're all pagan rituals. Remember this stupid video you watched one morning. If you find yourself in tribulation, keep the 10 Commandments. Eat clean, no pork, no shellfish. Teach others to do the same. Oh, keep the Sabbath. Yeah, that's an important one. Sabbath. Saturday at dawn till Sunday dawn. Teach others to do the same while fulfilling the royal law. If you do these, you'll make it out of tribulation and you won't go into the pit. If you don't do these things now, you will go to tribulation. If you don't do them in tribulation, you will go into the pit. It's that simple. You get one more bite at the apple if you don't listen to me now. So, better listen up. Shit's about to pop off.